Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Art and Science of Taking Care of Business. My name is Lane Coe. Of course, we have Wes with me somewhere over there. And right down there is old Emma. Emma, crap, I forgot your name. I just met her 5 minutes ago. So there you go. She's here today to talk about building content from video. We've talked about video here before, but we didn't really deep dive into how powerful it is and how easy it is to make a video and then just tons of content from one video. And it'll really supercharge your social media presence and will get you more notices, more likes, and hopefully more clients, because that's what we want to do here is help you get more clients, more money, more business.
And I will definitely say this week I tried, because I use Canva. I'm not a reseller of Canva, whatever. I use Canva, and I was like, I'm going to do some A/B testing, which is something that everybody should do. And I did one ad with video, and then I did one ad that wasn't video. And I cannot tell you more likes and links that I got from that video ad. It was unbelievable. My viewership of that ad went up to 1,700%. And I was completely shocked because I don't get that many views on my page, and then all of a sudden it goes up 1,700%. I was like, wait a minute, there is something to this video stuff.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Emma, please.
Sure. I am the co-founder and COO of Amplified Now, and we started out as a digital marketing agency focusing on video first content, and now we're actually building a membership for business owners, because we found that a lot of people, they didn't have the money yet to invest in an agency to do their entire process. And so we want to help people do it themselves. So we're putting together monthly playbooks to teach people different aspects. This month was actually content and how to create it from your videos. So, so we're helping other businesses out there like you guys.
Good. I'm glad you're here today. Why don't you just get going? We're ready.
Sure.
Teach me something.
So let's see. I'm going to share. Let's see.
It should let you share.
Are you seeing my how to build a content strategy?
We are.
All right. All right. So as I said, I'm Emma from Amplified Now. And I'm going to talk about why content marketing is so important, how to create your strategy, and then how and why you should repurpose your content. A lot of businesses don't understand all of the benefits of content. First of all, it's really cost effective. I go into a couple of statistics in a second, but it's cost effective and it generates more leads than traditional marketing. Video content will make your business more relevant in the online marketplace. You'll be able to create consistent content that can be published on every platform when you use a process like ours or something similar. And it will allow for more control over your message. All right, content marketing is a strategic marketing approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. So this was taken from the Content Marketing Institute. We always ask clients when they start to work with us, when you hear content, what do you think? And the answers are all over the place. When we think of content, we're mostly thinking about a website or blog, social media, Facebook groups, that type of thing, plus your email newsletter, videos, and graphics. Other people will say things like, billboards and flyers and brochures. We're talking mostly digital content today. And you want each piece of content that you put out into the world to be purposeful in bringing your ideal customer to you. So you shouldn't just be making content for content's sake, but you want to be attracting the right people. All right, so why should small businesses use content marketing? All right, this is my favorite, because content marketing costs 62% less and generates 3 times more leads than traditional marketing. I think that's absolutely amazing. In fact, Coca-Cola invests more money in content marketing than they do in television ads. I mean, I think around the Super Bowl, everybody knows how much television ads cost. So the fact that Coca-Cola invests more in content marketing is pretty amazing. But creating consistent content is a never-ending chore, which is why it's important to make the most of every piece of content you create. And that's why we believe in and practice a video first approach. It gives you the most bang for your buck. By 2022, so obviously this is a couple years old, but it was the most recent one we could find, online videos will make up more than 82% of all consumer internet traffic. And I actually think with the pandemic, because this was from a while ago, that this is probably pretty outdated, and it's actually more right now. 93% of people doing video for business say they've landed a new customer thanks to a video on social media. 47% of B2B decision makers consume between 3 and 5 pieces of content before they talk to a salesperson. 80% of executives and business owners prefer learning about a business from content rather than advertisements. But only 25% of companies publish videos every week. If you're not, if you're not in that 25%, you're falling behind. The thing is, it's not the best product, service, or business that wins, it's the best marketing. So how do you create high quality video content that can be shared on multiple platforms in multiple formats? All right, so this is our method. It's called the Megaphone Method. You start with your expert voice on video, you move on to written content for blog posts and email newsletters and social media, and then social media content through quote graphics, video excerpts, and pulled copy. This is the basics of it. I'm going to dive into sort of each section, but basically you start with a video. You can then break that video down. You're going to do a 5 to 10 minute kind of full length video for YouTube, and then you'll have snippets in different lengths sized for different platforms. You can then also take that and you can turn it into other things. So you can take the transcript and you can rewrite it into a blog post and an email newsletter. You can pull your social media copy from it, and you can also remove the audio and create a podcast out of it. And then, of course, you just make your graphics that go with it, and suddenly you have all of this content to mix and match for different platforms. All right, by creating a video first, you control the voice and the tone, which means all of the following content will be consistent. It will be your voice, your words, your meaning that go out into the world. I think this is really important if you're going to be outsourcing parts of this. You know, it depends on where you are in your business and stuff. But if you are going to be outsourcing maybe the writing, or you're going to be outsourcing the video editing, because you're doing the video first, it's going to be your voice and your meaning. Nobody's going to be able to sort of take that and twist it or put something out that, you know, it goes totally against what you think and say. This leads to content with a consistent message. All right, so let's talk tech. This is, people get tripped up because they think they need all this stuff to get started. Honestly, your smartphone is probably the best camera, unless you're going to go out and spend thousands and thousands on like a TV camera, high-end video camera. Your smartphone has a really good camera built into it, so use it. A lapel mic is really easy to get. I mean, you can get a cheap one on Amazon. You might have to replace it twice a year, but it's really easy. You can just plug it into your phone. You're good to go. And then just a simple ring light, or a couple of really good bright lamps that you can place on either side of you, so you get some good lighting in front of you. All right, and then for software, it's really not that bad either. You're going to need an intro, outro, and graphics. My business partner really likes to use something. She likes Keynote to make those. I prefer Canva. It depends on what you're used to, but you don't have to spend a ton of money on it. Then we use Unsplash a lot for stock photos, and then Vecteezy for stock videos. Stock audio you can find in a lot of different places, and usually once you've bought one piece of music for your intro and outro, that's all you need. So like you're looking at like $5. And then for video editor, there's a ton out there, but actually our favorite is DaVinci Resolve, which is actually free and is a really high performance video editor. You wouldn't need anything else. And then we use Otter.ai for transcription. Okay, so let's dive into the process. So step one, we're going to create an entire content strategy. So it starts with brainstorming. We ask these 4 questions to every client we're going to do a content strategy for. Okay, so what are the questions people ask you when they're thinking about working with you? What are the questions people aren't asking but should be? What is going on that is wrong, bad, or the old way, but people think is normal? And what is causing your audience to struggle because they think it's the way it's supposed to be? So, all of these, you're going to sit down, you're going to take 10 or 15 minutes with each one and really just try to think about everything you could possibly answer to it. Don't, this is brainstorming. You don't want to censor yourself. You don't want to edit yourself now. Just get it all out. Think about, the last few sales calls you had. Think about the things you've been complaining about, and just, make lots of lists. All right. So we worked with a scrap metal recycling business. And so these are some examples from that. Questions people were asking when they're thinking about working with you. What are the prices doing next month? What should I sort or separate? What should I look for in a scrapyard? What are the questions people aren't asking but should? How does a scrapyard work? How are metals classified? How do I read the scale? What is going on that is wrong, bad, or the old way? There's a lack of pricing transparency in the scrapping industry that is frustrating. And what is causing your audience to struggle because they think it's the way it's supposed to be? They struggle with knowing what is the right treatment from a scrapyard, and they don't know what objects to take apart and what objects to leave together. All right, so you're going to use those answers, and you're going to come up with 3 to 5 video topics to start. Usually we get a lot more out of, one of these sessions, and you might find that you're, more like 10 or 15 topics. But, sitting down and answering those questions, you should be able to come up with at least 3 to 5. So an example 4 that we picked were, how often does price change at a scrapyard? What should I avoid in a scrapyard I'm considering? What are the best resources for new scrappers? And should I take, an item apart? So they could do a whole series then. Should I take, a car engine apart? Should I take, whatever it is? So they can go through all of those. All right. Next, you're going to create a simple outline for each video. You want to make sure you include a story. It's not about you. It can be an anonymized version of you, but you should be the guide and not the hero. Then you want to have 1 or 3 points. If you have 2 points, it feels unfinished. Humans like 1 or 3. More than 3 points and you're going to lose the thread. So you want 1 or 3 points. And then you want to end everything with a call to action. So whether it's, download your freebie, join your group, book a call, you just want to make sure you're ending with a call to action. Okay, here's a big tip. People always want to write a full script. Don't do it. You're going to come off as robotic. It's going to sound really disjointed. And honestly, you're going to second guess yourself a lot more because you're going to be like, oh, I didn't read it right. So unless you're a trained actor, don't write a full script. It's okay to just, list out your points, give yourself an order to say things in, but don't write a full script. All right, so step 2 is going to be to record. Make sure your phone is in the horizontal position and that your head is, and well as some of your shoulders, are in the frame, and you want to be as centered as possible. Try both sitting and standing. Some people are more comfortable standing. They feel like they can use their hands more. And some people are more comfortable sitting, and you might try one for a while and then try another. I started out standing. Once I got more comfortable, sitting has been fine. Okay, so here are some recording tips. You want to make sure you're talking to one person. You can pretend you're speaking to somebody, or you can have somebody else in the room with you on the other side of the camera, but just make sure that you are talking to somebody and you're making eye contact. So look into the camera. You don't want to be looking off somewhere else and talking. It's not going to connect to your audience. So make eye contact. Make it real. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you have to stop and cough, just stop and cough and then keep going. You can edit that out. If you stumble over a word, that's okay. So does everybody. You don't have to make it perfect. And then you want to aim for 5 to 10 minutes. We have really, honestly, doing this with clients, 8 minutes is like the sweet spot. If you know a topic, you can talk about it for 8 minutes straight, without sort of missing a beat. So really aim for like 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so next is going to be editing. Basically, neaten up the beginning and end of the video. You can edit, pauses, do-overs, take out that cough, but you don't want to make it a super edited thing. You want it to be real. You want to be, yourself in front of your audience. Add an intro and outro. Like I said, my business partner uses Keynote to create these, but you can create them in PowerPoint, Canva, of all sorts of things. Pick out your music. You're going to add a music to the intro and outro if you want. You don't have to. And then you're going to export your video, upload it to otter.ai for transcription. Edit the transcript to create the subtitles or captions, and then export the SRT file for later. All right, so then you're going to create a couple of versions of the full length. You're going to create a 16:9 version for YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and then a 9:16 version for IGTV if you use it. And then this is where you can cut it up and make snippets for all your social media. So anything that's a complete thought can become a snippet. I'll show you in a second, but different platforms will allow for different lengths. And so you can have 15-second, 30-second, and 45-second are sort of cutoffs for different platforms. So anything that's a complete thought, less than a minute long, you can cut up and use. All right, so for 60 seconds, you want to do square for Instagram feed and Twitter, and a 9:16 for TikTok. 30 seconds, you're going to do square for Twitter, and then a 9:16 for TikTok and Instagram Reels. And then 15 seconds, you can do square for Twitter, and a 9:16 for TikTok and Instagram Reels. The tall ones, you can also share on other platforms, but TikTok and Instagram are really the ones that are ready for that. But we have used those for like YouTube Shorts. We've used them somewhat on Facebook Stories. And now we've also been experimenting with Pinterest idea pins. And if that works for your niche, that's another place you could try them out. All right, if you are going to be using this for a podcast, you just basically take out the audio. You can use your sim intro music and just, add a little speaking part at the beginning to introduce it. And suddenly you've got a podcast. You can aim for longer if you want with a podcast. So you could go, 20, 30 minutes, but it's not really necessary. There's a lot of shorter podcasts out there now that people, they just want that sort of quick win. All right, step 4, transcribe and write. So we always start with the transcription that we made, and then we take that to basically create the sort of fleshed out outline for a blog post, and then just fill in where it needs. I'm going to add subheadings, bullet points, clarification. You could add a longer backstory, and then you want to make sure you add an external link and an internal link. Step 5, quotes for social media. You're going to pull quotes for social media and graphics. Long form for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And then short form for Twitter, and also you can use those on Instagram. Next, you're going to create your graphics. So we create 3 sizes for everything that we do here. So we create a 16:9 horizontal. That can be your featured image on your blog post, your YouTube thumbnail. You can use it for a Facebook post and a LinkedIn post. 9:16 vertical, that can be your Pinterest pin. It could be your IGTV cover or your TikTok cover. And then square for Instagram. You can also use those on Facebook, Twitter. You can also use them on LinkedIn, honestly. We also like to create quote graphics, especially for Instagram, using the social media copy we pulled earlier. Usually there's at least one really good, one sentence gem, but often we'll get maybe 2 or 3 that we can use for a quote graphic. All right, and then you're going to schedule and share. So we upload the full-length video to YouTube, create and format the post for WordPress or wherever your blog is, and then we embed the YouTube video in the blog post. We use Loomly for social scheduling at this point, but whatever tool you choose, you're going to schedule your posts by mixing and matching videos and graphics with the social copy. So I kind of have a posting schedule that we use most often for things. Basically, the first day you're going to publish your blog post, YouTube video. We do the full-length video for IGTV, and then we'll do one of the snippets on TikTok. We'll push the YouTube video to Twitter and LinkedIn and schedule a Facebook premiere. And then for the rest of that week, we'll mix and match the short form social media copy with graphics to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and some of the long form social media copy with graphics to Facebook and LinkedIn. And then the next couple of weeks, we're mixing and matching that social copy with some of the graphics and the video snippets on different platforms. And then weeks 5 through 8, again, we're mixing and matching short form, long form, video, graphics, and we'll also do the short form social media copy with the 1-minute video for the Instagram feed. And then again, for the rest of the schedule, we do sort of a 6-month spread out schedule. For those last 3 months, you're just resharing things, mixing and matching. All right, so that's pretty much it. We learned why content marketing is so important because it costs you less and brings in more clients than traditional marketing methods. How video first content is going to save you time. You record it once and then use that video content for every other piece of content you create. What it means to repurpose content. It's using the same content in different ways across multiple platforms, and how to use your content effectively. You can mix and match each piece to create content for 6 months from each video. All right. And so that's just the method again. So video to long video and snippets to blog posts, email newsletter copy, social media copy, podcast, and your graphics.
So would you say there is a way that you could over post your content?
I mean, sure, if you posted the same thing every day, that would be over posting. But the beauty of this is that you're mixing and matching. So, your snippets, you're sharing a different complete thought in each one. And, so you're mixing it up. And if you have graphics, you can share that graphic a couple of times. If you're doing, a short form copy, a long form copy, you're sharing it with, you're saying a different thing with it each time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things that I get from a lot of my clients that I've talked to is they're too worried about, oh, what time do I share it? I'm like, yeah, that's important, but getting your content out there is more important because let's say you always share at 9 o'clock, well, your clients are going to start noticing you always share at 9 o'clock, so they're going to start coming to you at 9 o'clock instead of trying to figure out, okay, when's the best time for me to share this video? Should I share it across all mediums at once, or should I just break it up? And it's one of those things. It's like depending on how your content is. One of the things I do is for my private group, they get my content first because they're in my private group. A week later, everybody else gets that content.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I really like about Loomly is that you can create a post and then customize it for like what it looks like for each platform and also when it's published on each platform. So basically you can create one post. It goes out, on each platform for the next 4 weeks. It looks slightly different. You can use different hashtags, but you're not creating each of those posts independently. Then there's a lot of different platforms, social sharing platforms that do that type of thing. But it makes it easier if you're just pulling from this bucket of content you've made.
And one of the things I love about being able to see what's going out when it's going out is you can look at how it's performed. And you can look at those analytics and say, okay, this ad is outperforming my 3 other ones. So let's get rid of those 3 and develop something along the same content or the same video-ish, looking the same, acting the same, maybe a different product. So then okay, this is what's reaching my viewers.
Right. And you might find, my Twitter audience doesn't like videos.
Yep.
They want, a social quote graphic. And my LinkedIn audience loves videos. And so, I'm not going to post graphics over there. You'll really be able to figure out what your audiences on different platforms want.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that I think we all teach is you've got to have that data. You've got to have that information. So don't worry about being perfect. Just get out there and run the ads. They don't have to be paid ads either. They can all be organic posts.
Yep. Yeah. And, we'll tell our clients that let's try this for 3 months and then we'll do another content strategy so that you're just gathering that data in the beginning. You're seeing what works where, trying some different things. And then you're going to come back with a much better idea of, okay, this is the type of stuff we should be concentrating on. These are the platforms that we want to make videos for. You can, then make it a much tighter process.
Yep. And it's hard because myself included is I put content out there yesterday. Well, why am I not getting anything back on it? Sometimes you just haven't given enough time. And sometimes you just nail it and everybody loves it. But one of the things I actually like to see in content is when somebody messes up because it makes it feel more real. It doesn't make it feel like, oh, I've been shooting this in the studio for 6 months to get it perfect.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important to just be yourself. You know, you don't have to be that polished, perfect person. I just be yourself. You're gonna attract the right people that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I tell my people. The sizzle reels don't work anymore.
Yeah.
It's just casual.
Yeah.
They're people, your people, we're all people. But one thing that I have the hardest time with clients is them talking to that thing right there. I don't understand why they have such an issue. One thing I did when I was learning, I put a picture of my wife behind the camera on the wall.
That's a great idea.
And then I just talked to her.
Yep.
And then after a while, you get used to it. Now when we're out and about, somebody pulls out the camera, like, where's the eye? Oh, it's true. I'm terrible.
I think one of the things that you have to realize when you're shooting with your phone is use your front-facing cameras, not your back-facing camera, because your front-facing camera is better. Even though you can't see yourself, it's all right.
And actually, sometimes it's better not to be able to see yourself. You know, you're more natural.
You'll find that people won't be looking at the camera, they'll be looking at their face.
Yeah.
That's what you got peripheral vision for, Bubba.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, the phones are awesome. The lapel mics, they have wireless, they have wired, depending on your phone type.
Yep.
If you're going to do anything with Facebook Live, a lot of the wirelesses don't work on an iPhone with Facebook Live.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Something I found out after I bought a very expensive wireless mic.
Of course.
Okay. Of course. It's okay. But yeah, and I think we've said it a million times. This is not going to work if you don't work it.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's my advice to everybody. How do they reach out to you, Emma?
They can find us on amplifiednow.com.
Say it one more time slow for everybody.
amplifiednow.com.
There you go. Thank you. Any last comments, parting words, advice for us?
No, I know you guys post this in the group, so I'll make sure to check for comments or questions later. If anybody has more, I'm happy to hop in.
Awesome. Be sure to put your link in that group too.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Wes, how we doing?
We're doing great. It's been awesome. I learned a lot, and I'm going to be redoing some ads here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, we're doing great.
Good.
Cool. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. As you know, please comment, questions, wins, failures. Tell me how ugly I am. I need a shave. I don't care. I need you involved. Questions are better because then Wes and I can build next week's podcast. What are we doing here? This live. Had podcast on the brain there for a second. It helps us prepare for what you actually want to learn, because I just think I know what you want to know. So yeah, that's the end of what I had to say. Emma, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You did awesome.
Thanks.
All right, Wes, take us out of here.
All right. Have a good week.